Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. Oh, doing a little artistic work here. Um, Adding up a little bit longer boss for the mag mount um, because, the mag sticks out farther this way now. So put a couple of washers, two here, actually just one thicker one here because the casting isn't exactly even uh, to work out to the height of the bottom of the mag. Little JB weld to kind of smooth it all out and make it look like a casting. Once it's dry, I'll smooth it out and it'll all be hidden underneath the mag anyway, so you won't really even see it. It's basically just kind of to stick the washers in place, and you'll see a little bit on this front edge is about all. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more and stick the other ones there, and we'll call her good. Okay, we got some materials in. We got a new, more correct petcock for the radiator. We got some 3/16 rod to make our governor linkage. We got some, I'm not even sure what size this is, but some stock. It's supposed to be the right size to make some plugs that'll press into there nicely, not be loose. We got some rubber for the mounts underneath the radiator. It's 3/8 thick, so two thicknesses should get me the height I need for that. Some rivets for the fan shroud and some lock washers, nothing too exciting there. Brought the stand out. I'm starting to get things ready because if the weather cooperates, the plan is to hopefully get some painting done this long weekend. I'm hoping the weather cooperates. Either Saturday or Sunday is looking okay if it isn't too windy. So I brought this out. This is what we use to paint the wheels on. I figured I could probably use that to put the flywheel on, stick the rod, a smaller rod, through the center of it and hang it on there so I can paint the whole thing. So the plan is to paint that whole assembly. I'll put the clutch on it and paint that at the same time. I brought out some just generic black spray paint. I'm going to paint the appropriate parts on the inside of the clutch here, the stuff that should be painted. Just put a light coating on here just so things don't rust over time. All the stuff on the inside, and then this outside will be painted green then to match the flywheel. Flywheel will be off so we can paint the back of the engine, and then we'll do all of like the linkages and things that are not painted yet. Basically, I want to get everything, hopefully everything painted, like for the back half of this tractor, all these linkages and the steering wheel and the seat assembly and all that kind of stuff that is not painted yet. I'll take that back apart and do that with this next batch of green. And then once that's done, I can put the clutch together and everything for good for the final time. We'll put the engine back in the tractor for the final time, hopefully. And then, like I've said, at that point, I'll do another batch of green. I'll paint the entire engine, the hood, radiator, and anything else that hasn't gotten painted by that point. So hopefully this weekend's batch of green, one more batch of green, and then one more batch of red at some point. And then hopefully we'll be about done painting for this project. Other than that, that's about all I got done today. I spent most of the afternoon, I ran up and I picked up my road band blanks. Got a guy that rolled them up for me. So, they're not perfect, but I think we can make them work. Because we're actually going to cut them in two pieces anyway, and we'll probably have to do some light tweaking and fitting to make them fit the actual wheels. I knew we were kind of expecting that anyway. because he's got a little bit of a twist in him, but nothing that you can't straighten out. And I think if I play with them a little bit, twist them a little bit the other way and try to kind of straighten them out a little bit. So hopefully, yeah, we'll be able to make them work. Like I said, it was hard finding a guy that could roll C-channel like that with the leg in. So I kind of went with what I could find. It wasn't cheap either, but I think it'll end up working out good in the end. I'm just a little hesitant at this point because I haven't fit anything yet, but once we get them fit and everything, I'll let you know how I really think about the whole process. And then we got the little ones for the sulky wheels. Those I'm pretty confident will be just fine. Those you can, it's light enough stuff, you can bend and form that pretty easy. So we can tweak them to the exact size of the wheels as necessary. These ones might be a little bit more tricky, but I think we can make it work. So yeah, I'm going to probably continue getting a few things prepped for paint. I want to work on these broadbands now that I got them, but I'm going to force myself to focus on paint stuff since that's what needs to be done first. So yeah, I'll probably check back later. Inside clutch parts, giving a quick dusting of spray paint. Nothing fancy, just to protect them from rusting in the future. So let them dry and then we'll put the clutch together tomorrow. Okay, stuff is painted, dried, unmasked. Let's put the clutch back together. Well, maybe I'm getting a little bit better at this. A little smarter way of doing it. So I put it in the press here, press down on the center part. And when I got the spring compressed, I put the oil slinger and throwout bearing assembly, threaded that on to the shaft. So now we're sitting again with the pressure on the throwout bearing. So now I can put this assembly into the flywheel. Okay, clutch is together, lock wire is in, so we shouldn't have to take that apart anymore. All we'll have to do now is once this is painted and I get the good clutch discs, we'll have to take this apart, swap the good clutch discs in, put the flywheel on the engine, put the clutch back in, and we'll be done. Okay, I've been working all day getting stuff ready for paint. We're almost ready. Haven't been filming anything, I've just been getting her done. There's all stuff ready to go. Flywheel and clutch on the stand, ready to go. Steering box is off. Seat pan is ready. Back of the engine ready. Steering ready. Linkages over there and seat stuff ready. So basically everything that I had mocked up here, with the exception of I left these rods for now because I want to make sure all that works on this end and get everything adjusted, and if I have to do anything to these ends, whatever, I'm going to get them all tuned up first before I paint them. So those will be in the next batch of green. But yeah, other than that, everything else, I got a few more seat parts here. I gotta get on some hangers ready for the morning. I'm gonna get something to eat now and then come back out and, like I said, finish getting things as ready as I can for morning, and then cross our fingers that the weather is as nice tomorrow as it is today, because today would have been a perfect day for painting if I was ready, but I just wasn't quite there yet. So okay, 2 coats of primer on everything. I gotta clean up my gun and stuff. We'll give her a little bit to dry in the sun here, and then we'll mix up some green paint. Steering box, seat, flywheel, Turned out to be a beautiful day for painting. The wind is blowing out of the right direction, so we're shielded. The shop and stuff here. If it was blowing the other way, we'd probably be cussing a little bit. Everything's turning out pretty good though. I'm happy so far. Okay, let's go clean up our mess. We had a little lunch and we got one batch of, or one coat of green, I should say, on everything. We'll let her dry a few minutes here and give her the second final coat. Okay, we're done painting. For today at least. Second coat of green on everything. Everything's looking nice. Out here in the sun, baking away. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit, so I think I'll start moving this stuff inside the shop so nothing turns into wind chimes. But I'm happy with how everything looks. Looks good. And I had just a splash of paint left over from that batch. So I took a little brush and I was touching up bolt heads in the existing tractor from previous paint jobs and whatever. So that's all looking really good. We're starting to see it light up the end of the tunnel. Looking good. Brought the seat in because that was starting to wiggle around in the wind. One little flaky ick in there, ick. Okay, everything's safely tucked inside for the night. Parts hanging everywhere. Well, it looks really good. I'm happy with how it all turned out. I'll come out tomorrow and look at it all with a fresh set of eyes and see what it all looks like, but seems good to me. Steering wheel hung up on the sawhorses. I'm going home. It was a long day, a lot of work, but this is good. A big step in the right direction. Okay, what did I get done this morning? Got paint stuff packed up, put away, all the parts off the wires. I've been putting stuff together. Got a belt to use for the rubber for the road bands. Lawrence had one that was from his baler, a bad one, got a little burn melt spot in it, whatever. So he let me use that to put on the road bands. Like I said, I've been getting everything ready here, unmasked. I put together all the linkages inside the clutch housing here for the final time. Cotter pins are all in permanently. Shaft, a little bit of grease on it. We're good to go there. I got the linkages put back on the tractor here. Same thing, a little bit of grease on everything. Cotter pins in. Hopefully never have to take that apart again. Same thing on the other side. Got the toolbox door loosely put in place. I got to tighten up those bolts yet. But yeah, I got the linkages on this side all together. Same thing, tightened up, good to go. Got all the seat parts laid out here. Probably tackle that. I got the hitch loosely on. I got to tighten that up yet. I guess John is on his way. The guy that rolled the bands for me, he's coming through Kenmare on his way to Minot this afternoon, so he's going to drop off. I had him plasma cut out the little end pieces to bolt the two halves together. So he's going to drop them off, so I'll show you them a little bit later when those come. Yeah, things are coming together. This will be a pretty productive week this coming week too, because the friction discs they're in transit. They'll be here sometime this week. The Dick Meyer, the cap and the original steering post casting from his tractor, he's let me borrow. That's en route. That should be here this week. Kyle got my pinion parts. They're en route. They'll be here this week. So we got a lot of stuff. It should be another fun-filled week. But yeah, I'll keep working on stuff here, and I'll check back later. Okay, toolbox door bolts are tight. Hitch is tight. Next thing I'm trying to decide is what orientation to have the spinner knob in on the steering wheel. And basically I should decide that now, because that affects what orientation I put the steering box geared onto the tractor, because the slot on the back of that obviously meshes with the end of the steering shaft. So if I want say I want this spinner knob to be at the 3 o'clock position, I gotta kind of decide that before I put the steering box on. And not that I couldn't change that in the future, but if I don't have to take that heavy steering box on and off any more times, would be great. So maybe I'll table that for now and instead focus on putting together my seat assembly, because I guess that can go all back together now. And then I could actually sit up here and maybe try to get a sense of what's comfortable. I mean, and I know it doesn't matter, and ultimately, yeah, it could be changed. But like I said, it's just one of those, if you try to think these things through before you put things together and have to take them apart again, it makes life a lot easier. It's hard for me because I've never operated a 612 before, I've never driven one, so I don't know what the most comfortable position would be. So yeah, maybe we'll put the seat together here now. See if you can remember how this puzzle goes together. Yeah, I met up with John on his way through. He dropped off my road band parts, fresh off the plasma cutter. He didn't even clean them up or nothing because he knew I could do that. Yeah, it looks like they should work pretty good. So these will get welded on to the ends of the bands, so then each half can get bolted together, and it'll look like vintage, type of road band. I think it should work pretty good. So yeah, add that to our list of things to do when we get a second. But back to our regularly scheduled program. We're putting the seat assembly together. That's all done now, with the exception of the correct casting for here that Norm's working on. So for now I just got the homemade piece that's there. I didn't paint that bolt yet because I didn't know what length it needed to be. I figured it'd be easier to cut it to length first and then paint that in the bracket at the same time. But for now it's on there, good enough. It was a bit of a puzzle putting this together, because you got to have it together in the right order or you can't get it together, because this D-ring has to go on before this spacer has to go on before you can bolt it together tight here. But you got to have the pieces in there. I had to backtrack a couple times. You got to do it in the right order, but it all fit together good. The seat is nice and tight again. There's basically no side-to-side play since we redid all those pivot holes in the front there and new bolts. So I'm really happy with how that came together. A D-ring that we fabricated that fit perfectly. So yeah, we can move on to the next thing now. Okay, swapped out the proper hardware for the bolts back here. So basically, the rear half of the tractor is 99% done now. Nice. And got all the transmission hitch bolts tightened up because I got the paint that I wanted to get touched up yesterday, so I could finally commit to tightening all that stuff up. Had to get the big boy wrenches out for that. Flywheel is on the engine for hopefully the last time. Cotter keys are in. We're just waiting on friction materials to show up now, and that should be happening this week. So then we can put the engine in for good, hopefully, and continue on with figuring out timing on the mag and whatnot. Probably the next thing after that. But yeah, we're making good progress. Starting to look like a tractor again. And it's all coming together nicely, so I can't complain one bit. And we still got hope of making hutch, because we still got time. I'm not giving up hope yet. Cross your fingers, everybody. All right, well, I gotta go fix supper, so that might be it for this week. If it is, see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.